Welcome to Keeping It Real with KC. I am your host, KC Phoenix, and I'm still getting used to this because, as I mentioned in the previous episode, I believe, I usually shave and cut my hair and all that other good stuff. Woo! But I was planning on doing it tonight, but then I was like, I need to get these episodes out the way because I have to shoot my other show and get that done. So I was just like, to hell with it. I decided to go ahead and keep the hair. And I'll do all the other good stuff tomorrow. For this particular show, this is based off of an experience I had literally, what's today, the 6th? So less than a week ago. And if you're watching this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. With YouTube, of course, click subscribe, the notification bell. That way you know when I upload episodes. Which on YouTube and Daily Motion, the episodes are uploaded once every weekend. You usually get, or once or twice every weekend, but usually be twice on the weekend. And other episodes will be exclusively on the podcast, which those are the podcast only episodes. And it'll say PCO for podcast only. And yes, I know podcast is one word, but I just wanted to do PCO. But KIRWKC.com will take you directly to the podcast, so you can catch the podcast only episodes as well as these episodes too, if you just want to listen. Feel free to follow on Twitter, KIRWKC, Instagram, KIRWKC. And now that I have got that off the table, or removed that from the table, because gotten, I believe I used in one of my episodes, which is horrible, horrible English. I can go into this particular show and what happened. Which, of course, the title of this episode is You Don't Know Where Your Blessing Will Come From. And it was based on an incident that just made me reflect on how things can work in life sometimes. Before I go into this, I need to make it clear. I do my best to look at things as in a positive manner as possible. And I know it can be difficult. And I'll go more into that. I also I try to be optimistic too, which being positive and being optimistic are pretty much one and the same. I'm a realist as well. I don't look at everything with rose-colored glasses. And when I am saying this by being positive and remaining optimistic, I am aware that this is still the real world. And in the real world, the good guys don't always win. And the bad guys don't always lose. In the midst of all of that, you have to find the positivity where you can. When it comes to blessings, that is one thing that, just like when I said the good guys don't always win and the bad guys don't always lose, that is a guaranteed thing. Another thing that is guaranteed on the chessboard of life is that there is an abundance of blessings everywhere. There's unlimited blessings everywhere. With those blessings being all over the world, because all of it's, I tell people, all of it's energy. At the end of the day, I look at it as energy. one of the best descriptions of what I think how energy works would be this anime. It's called Magi, I believe is what it's called. And the way it described it with energy and the process and the source and everything else, I thought it was really, really interesting too, with magic and all that stuff. But with energy, I believe all of it's energy. And receiving blessings is a point of tapping into that good energy, that good positivity, being optimistic and stuff. At the same time, even when you're not looking to tap into that good energy, even when you're not looking for that blessing, one might show up unexpectedly. And I say that to say what the title is. You don't know where your blessing will come from. All of the blessings around, you don't know where they're going to come. And you may think your blessing will come from one place, but then it comes from a totally different place. You may think that your blessing isn't coming from a certain place, but then all of a sudden it appears. And I know the people watching this and the people listening to this are like, how did you come to this thought for this show with that? I am glad you asked. I order my grocery. I don't use Instacart because when things were really, really crazy with what was going on here, it just wasn't working for me. The odd thing is that Amazon Fresh, and I hate to give them too much of a shout out because I'm not getting paid to do this, but we'll just go ahead and pay it forward today. But with Amazon Fresh, they were very and have been very dependable. And some things do cost a little bit more, but some things are actually less on there too, on Amazon Fresh. So I've been ordering my grocery that way. And when I order grocery, I order a lot of grocery because I like to have a refrigerator full of food. Not only because I love to eat, but it's just, again, my astrological sign is Cancer. We like to have a full refrigerator. So I do order a lot of food. And one thing with them bringing the food, I know that they have to do a little bit of extra, especially with the cases of water, because usually I'll order 2 cases of water to be delivered along with the grocery. And there isn't an elevator in the building, sadly. And I'm on the top floor. So to deliver my grocery, I know that it takes them to run back and forth, it takes them a good 15 to 20 minutes, give or take. It's definitely no more than 20 minutes for sure, but a good 15 minutes. I keep that in mind. First of all, my very first job when I was a kid, I've been working since I was 14 years old. Literally. Uncle Sam has been taking taxes out my check since I was 14. And that's a whole nother episode for a whole nother day on a totally different channel. But when I was 14, I got a job working in the grocery store, bagging groceries and taking groceries out to people's cars. And actually, that's how I got my Beauty and the Beast VHS back a long time ago. Is because a lady, I know this is a random story, but it's on my mind, so I thought I'd just go ahead and tell you anyway. a lady, I was taking out her grocery to her car, and I saw the VHS in the back of the car. The VHS tape was brand new. It was brand new. And it's like, oh, Beauty and the Beast, because I love Beauty and the Beast. The cartoon. The live action, but the cartoon, yeah, I love Beauty and the Beast. So I had seen it, and she was like, yeah, she said, I have an extra copy, because she had bought one, I think for one of her nieces or nephews or something like that. Anyway, she had bought a copy for someone in her family, and someone else had already bought them a copy of Beauty and the Beast. So she was stuck with the copy that she had bought. And I was like, oh, and we were just chatting while I was unloading her grocery in her car. And I was like, oh, I wanted to get that. And she said, well, I can sell it to you. And I checked my pocket, because I would make tips. Because obviously, if you're bagging groceries and taking them out to people's cars, most of the time, not all of the time, but most of the time they would tip you. And some people would tip really, really good. Some people would tip really, really good. Other people, and also this was almost 30 years ago. So keep in mind inflation and everything else here. Some people would give you like 50 cents or $1 or something like that. And it was a fun experience. But I reached in my pocket and I was pulling out my money, because she had said $10. And I was like, well, all I have is $7. And she said, well, I was going to tip you $3 anyway. So she's like, that's fine. So she sold me a brand new, still wrapped Beauty and the Beast VHS tape that was worth like $20, I think, for $15 or $20. She sold it to me for $10. Well, really $7 cash, and I got it from her. Which actually, universe, I see you. I see you, universe. Wow, I did not expect that. Okay. That's an example. I was going off on the story and it just hit me. That was a blessing, because I actually wanted that movie. I love that movie. And I wasn't expecting it. And I sure wasn't expecting to get the Beauty and the Beast copy. And I was telling this random story and all this. Universe, I see you. Whoa, that's deep. Why am I getting chills right now? Wow, that is deep. Okay, back to this. I gotta focus. Okay, so that was an example, even though a side example tying into the other example randomly. But I see you. Okay, universe. All right. So yeah, that was an example. I didn't know that this lady, because I wanted the Beauty and the Beast, clearly. I didn't know this lady had a Beauty and the Beast sitting in the trunk of her car. And sure enough, went out and it happened. Title again, you don't know where your blessings will come from. Now, back to the main story that inspired this whole thing. With the Amazon Fresh people, when they deliver in, top floor, no elevator, I'm doing the Cliff Notes version of what I said, just to refresh your memory for those who forgot by me telling the side story. Okay, so the guy who delivered this week on Monday, because it was the 1st of June, it was on Monday, he was bringing all the stuff up, and he was jokingly saying to me, he said with a laugh, wow, why do you order so much stuff? And I'm like, oh, well, I always order this much. And he's like, yeah. And he said it with a laugh, so I was polite about it. if he would not have said it with a laugh, then I would have gave one of my saucy answers, as I have been known to do sometimes. My answer would have been, because I can order this much grocery. But since he said it with a laugh, I was polite. See the KIRWKC episode, Polite versus Fake. I was polite. I said, oh, I order a lot all, I just do. I order a lot all the time. And he's like, yeah, there's no elevator. And he brought that up. I said, yeah. And while he was bringing up stuff, I said, that's why I tip the way I do. And he said, you tip the way you do? Do you tip more? I'm like, you didn't see the tip I gave you? He's like, no, we don't see our tips for, I think he had said 4 days or something like that, which is weird. Because when you check out in Amazon Fresh, the tip, they give you the recommended tip, but of course you can change that. Usually I'll tip the driver $15. And not that $15 is so much money, because $15 is nothing. But $15 for 15 to 20 minutes of work is pretty damn good. So I always try to tip them like $15, especially if I buy around $200 worth of grocery. So, yeah. So I went ahead and I had tipped him $15, but he didn't know that I had already tipped him $15 before coming to deliver the grocery. And he still wasn't going to know until a few days later, which Amazon Fresh, if this ever gets back to you, please let your drivers know what they're being tipped, because it's already paid for when the order is done. So, yeah. But I said to him, I said, yeah, I was like, I tipped you $15. And he's like, oh. The attitude changed real quick. And not saying that his attitude was in a horrible negative, that it was a negative demeanor or anything like that. I'm not implying that. I'm saying that when it definitely changed things from where it was before. He was being polite. He wasn't being fake, he was being polite. And once the information was out of how much he had been tipped, it was like, oh, wow, okay. But the thing is that he didn't know and wasn't supposed to know for a few days. So I guess I'm glad it came up during the conversation, because now I know that they don't know what they're being tipped until days later. And as I said before, you don't know where your blessing will come from. If you go into a situation and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to take out all these groceries and stuff. I have to take them upstairs and there's no elevator and type thing. Instead of thinking, you know what? Hey, it's job security. It's this, it's that. Let's keep it. Let me get it done real quickly and let me push on forward and get to the next person and do that. I'm not saying, again, that the good guys always win and the bad guys always lose. I'm not saying that. I'm not throwing out rose-colored glasses here. I'm just saying, do everything you can to try not to drift to the half empty mindset and look at the glass half full. And it's hard. I've been battling situations over the past few months where it's been very difficult for me to look at the glass half full. But that is what I push to do. That is what I will continue to do. So, and I have to remember, I don't know where my blessing or blessings, which maybe I should have made that plural, because there's no way that you will go throughout your entire lifetime with a blessing. You will always go throughout your entire lifetime with blessings, that plural. And if you believe that you've never received a blessing, then we need to have a heart-to-heart. That if you believe you never received more than one blessing throughout your life, we really need to have a heart-to-heart. That is what I want people to always remember. Try to think of the glass half full instead of half empty. Try to remain positive, because you don't know where your blessing will come from, or blessings will come from. You might be shocked, just like that man was shocked that he was tipped $15 for 15 to 20 minutes worth of work, which is on top of his hourly pay or whatever pay that Amazon pays them. Because to my understanding, Amazon pays based off of how many packages are delivered or something of that nature. But still, it is that $15 for 15 to 20 minutes of work is on top of what he was paid. You don't know where your blessings will come from. And I think a lot of people need to remember that. And it was on my chest because of that incident, and I'm glad I got it off. And it's so weird that the Beauty and the Beast story came to me while I was doing this, because at first I thought it was a random thing that had nothing to do with the actual show. But I'm just still in awe how that particular story was the one that came to me. I'm in the energy. Like I said, I see you, universe. I see you. So yeah. And for those who are wondering, no, I don't have the Beauty and the Beast VHS tape anymore. Something happened to it later on, because as the years go by, things get lost, damaged, replaced, sold, or whatever. But for that particular Beauty and the Beast story, it was a really good story, which I own Beauty and the Beast on digital. And when I bagged groceries, that was a very interesting story. One of the interesting stories when I worked at the grocery store. So it all worked out. Anyways, that's all I got. And this was actually shorter than I thought it would be. For some reason, I thought it was going to be a little bit longer. I'm glad. Good. Let's wrap this on up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the subscribe button. Click the notification bell. Subscribe on Dailymotion if you're watching on there. Because I noticed that I'm getting watches on Dailymotion, just not getting any subscriptions, which is interesting, but at least people are watching. So thank you for watching. Same thing with my podcast. I get the plays, but people aren't necessarily subscribing. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm seeing all this data from other platforms where people are listening to the show. So yeah, I'll figure it out one day. I think that's all I got. Twitter, KIRWKC. Instagram, KIRWKC. And that's it. Thank you again. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I sincerely mean that. And I think after listening to or watching these shows, you know a little bit of me. You don't know everything about me, and you possibly never will know everything about me. But you know enough of me that when I say I appreciate each and every one of you who listen and watch the show, I really, really mean it. I appreciate it. Be blessed.